presented by AT&T Uverse TV.
The following is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Black We are Southwest.
Justin Graham earned the trust of the skipper coming out of spring training, and he found himself in the Rangers rotation early. Justin rewarded the team with an AL Rookie of the Month performance in April. But this game has a way of testing you, and Grimm has struggled a bit in recent outings. But the young right-hander still has the confidence of Ron Washington, and he will take the ball tonight for another big challenge. The hard-hitting Detroit Tigers. Justin Graham looks to regain his April form, coming up next on Fox Sports Southwest. It's a warm and windy, muggy night here at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington, but a near-capacity crowd is filing in anticipation of this third game of the weekend series between the Rangers and the Detroit Tigers. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Delighted you could join us on this Saturday night of Ranger baseball. We're looking forward to a good one here this evening. And the Rangers have some things going pretty well their way. Injuries, though, have cut it short just a little bit. So Ron Washington's had to make some changes. One guy, though, that has been in a lot of spots in the lineup has no problem moving around, and that's David Murphy.
No doubt about that, Buzz, especially after April. Yeah. You know, David's generally a slow starter. This year was no exception. He had a poor April. He only hit 170. But since May's rolled around, he's right back to where you expect him to be. He's hit almost 300 in May. He's moved to second in the lineup tonight with Ian Kinsler out of the lineup. Elvis will be leading off, and hopefully David will have a big night tonight. Got a tough assignment tonight, though, against Aníbal Sanchez, one of the best pitchers in the league right now.
Yeah, this whole Detroit staff is tough, but Sanchez may be throwing as well as anybody in baseball. Well, it'll be game 3 of this 4-game series coming up. The teams have split the first 2. Justin Graham tries to get back on the winning side of things. The Rangers and the Tigers next on Fox Sports Southwest. Take the EcoBoost Challenge at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T U-Burst TV. Check availability at 1-800-PICK-ATT. Rethink possible. And by Progressive. Visit Progressive.com today. Now the temperature in the upper 80s, a warm, muggy May night here in North Texas. And let's head down to the field right now where Emily Jones is standing by him.
Well, Buzz, you know as well as anyone that times have changed quite dramatically around here over the last few years. It wasn't long ago where this team would have just died to go to the playoffs. Now it's playoff or bust, it seems. And a 6.5 game lead in mid-May is now just kind of ho-hum around these parts, except for, of course, inside the Rangers clubhouse.
We know how difficult it is to get to the postseason, and I think if we thought in those terms, I think that would be a little bit of taking things for granted and you know, thinking a little too highly of ourselves. And you know, over 162 games and as good of a division as we play in, there's no free spots. You have to earn every bit of what you get.
David Murphy with tonight's Geico quote of the game. So, Buzz, not to get on my soapbox or anything, but maybe we could all take a lesson from the players, enjoy the ride a little bit, realize that we're getting to watch some pretty good baseball being played by some pretty good baseball players. And let's not forget, it wasn't too long ago when this team wasn't contending this time of year or any other.
All right, Em, I like you up there on your soapbox. That's a good look for you.
The other thing, Em, it wasn't too long ago that the Rangers had this kind of lead and lost the division on the last day of the season, too.
Yeah, it was not long ago. Now let's take a look at the Detroit lineup that will face Justin Grimm here tonight. Andy Dirks leads off. He's in left field. Torrey Hunter is the right fielder. Miguel Cabrera plays third, bats third. The cleanup man is the first baseman, Prince Fielder. Victor Martinez handles the DH chores. Alex Avila catches, bats sixth. The shortstop bats seventh. That's Johnny Peralta. Omar Infante is at second. And batting ninth, the center fielder, Abisael Garcia.
And the Budweiser scouting report for Justin Grimm. Overall, the numbers look okay. A 4.28 ERA. He's pitched well in this ballpark. He also has more than a strikeout per inning. His last two starts, though, haven't gone that well. In fact, he's lost his last 3 starts, but he's given up 10 runs in 10 innings in his last 2 starts. And the key for Justin is to be able to put his fastball where he wants it. His last start, he had too many fastballs down the middle of the plate. He has to command it better in the strike zone than he's done in his last couple of starts. And we've seen what he's capable of, and that's putting the fastball where he wants to and mixing in a real nice curveball. When he does that, everything's fine. But big challenge tonight against best offensive team in the league.
Umpire and crew tonight, Mike Malinsky calling the balls and strikes. Phil Cussy at first. The crew chief, Jerry Meals at second. Ron Culpa at third. And we are underway as Justin Grimm fires a strike to the outside corner. Andy Dirks takes it. Dirks leading things off, batting .261 for the Tigers. And he's down to the count now 0-2 as Justin Grimm pouring a couple of fastballs right through there. Yeah, and Justin Grimm should have been able to learn something from last night. Now, he's faced the Tigers one other time. Breaking ball and a check swing. He did not go around. The appeal down to third, and Ron Culpa said no swing. But Grimm and last night's starter for the Rangers, Nick Tepesch, pitch in a similar fashion. Their stuff is very similar. Grimm probably has a better curveball or throws it more often than Nick Tepesch. Tepesch probably has a better slider. But they can attack hitters the same way. And even though Nick Tepesch was not on last night, he still avoided major damage by pitching very effectively when he had some folks in scoring position. Dirks pops this up right on the foul line or near it. And Adrian Beltre puts it away. Echo brings you the Ranger defense tonight. You saw Adrian Beltre at third, but he's backed by David Murphy in left, Leonis Martin in center, Nelly Cruz in right. Morland at first, Garcia and Andrews up the middle. And Robinson Chirinos, the catcher, working with Justin Grimm. Here's Torrey Hunter, who is in a pretty good slump for himself. He was 0 for his last 14 times to the plate. That batting average now down to .309. And I think the Rangers would just as soon Torrey Hunter stay cooled off until sometime Monday afternoon. That'd be about right. Jim Leyland like to have his veteran outfielder get going. Hits this one in the air to shallow right center field, moving to his left and in a few steps. Leonis Martin makes the grab. That's out number 2.
A better start for Justin than the last time he pitched against the Tigers, which was just about a year ago. 1 inning, 8 hits, 6 runs. Tough start. A little more experience now than he was back then, though.
That was his second big league start, if I remember right. He was kind of like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah, the first one went pretty nicely for him.
Got out there, and all of a sudden the Tigers attacked him. He said, "Oh my goodness." First pitch to Miguel Cabrera is a high fastball out of the zone. It's 1-0. Cabrera again just having a great year. 376, 8 home runs, 42 driven in. He takes that curveball off the outer edge, and it's 2-0.
2 starts ago, Justin gave up 5 runs in the first inning. And with a little help from his defense, he probably would have given up no runs in the first inning. That was one of his starts that was 5 innings, 5 runs, but actually he pitched better than that. In his last start in Oakland, he missed the good part of the plate too many times, and they hit him pretty well. Hit a couple of home runs against him.
That last one looked like the pitch that Justin Grimm is trying to perfect, and that's the slider. And Cabrera, really a good guy to have a good slider against. Boy, he got him on the fist. A little looper is going to fall in center field for a base hit. That may be a victory when you hold Cabrera to not hitting the ball sharply. When you hit a base hit, that's one thing, but boy, he really got the ball in on Cabrera's fist, did Justin Grimm.
As many balls as he hits hard that are caught, he probably has a lot of those bloopers coming to him.
A 1 on, 2 out. Now Prince Fielder, the first baseman, will step in.
That was good movement on that fastball by Justin to get the ball in on him like that.
Fielder batting .272. And he takes a strike from Grimm. Justin doing a good job here in the early going of getting ahead with that fastball. Well located fastballs at that. 24-year-old right-hander Justin Grimm out of the University of Georgia. Working from the set. And a breaking ball is chopped foul. It's 0-2. Fielder 1 out of 6 in this series. Went 0 for 3. He was hit by a pitch last night in that 2-1 Tigers win. Crowd getting behind Justin Grimm and the Rangers. They'd like to see the inning come to a close here. Just missed outside. Well, that is a great 0-2 pitch.
Good location and good movement, too. And definitely a ball.
Grimm peering in for the signs. The right-hander's ready. Another breaking ball, and that's pulled foul outside first. And we'll try it again in a ball and 2 strikes.
Fielder's walked 29 times. Well, he is a patient hitter. Cabrera would probably walk a lot more than that if he didn't have Fielder hitting behind him.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And that's I'm sure Cabrera will be the first to say he appreciates having someone like Fielder hitting behind him.
Fly ball, left field, not hit very well. David Murphy coming on, the wind pushing it toward the foul line, and that'll do it. Well, good job by Justin Grimm in the first inning. No runs, a hit, 1 left. Half an inning in the books. Tigers nothing. Rangers coming up on Fox Sports Southwest. First, now the Rangers come to bat against Aníbal Sanchez. And here's the Texas Rangers starting lineup delivered by First Financial Bank. Elvis Andrus again in the leadoff spot tonight. David Murphy moves up to second. Lance Berkman handles the DH George. Adrian Beltre, the cleanup man, is playing third base. Then it's the right fielder Nelson Cruz. Mitch Morland is at first. Robinson Chirinos catches and hits seventh. In center field tonight, Leonis Martin batting eighth. And batting ninth, the second baseman, Leury Garcia. Aníbal Sanchez on the hill, the young right-hander, ready to go to work, and a drive to left off the bat of Andrus in for a base hit. Well, Elvis didn't waste any time. He just smoked that first pitch into left field, a leadoff single.
Check out the scouting report for Sanchez. He's right now one of the hottest hitters in the league, hottest pitchers in the league. He's only 4-3, but his ERA is at 2.05. 42 strikeouts in his last 27 innings. Strikeout to walk ratio, 8th best in Major League Baseball. This guy's got great stuff. He's got above average fastball, above average off speed pitches. He's got a game this year against the Braves where he struck out 17 batters in a game. So that gives you an idea the kind of stuff that he has.
David Murphy takes a strike, facing Sanchez. David at 211 with the average. Big slow hook, and it stays outside, 1-1. Murphy just 1 for 3 against Sanchez in his career. And you can see what David has done in the last 10 ball games, up over the 320 mark. Andrus draws a throw at first base. Elvis, 10 stolen bases thus far this year. He's been caught just one time. He is third in the American League with those 10 steals. He's on the move. The pitch is swung on a miss. The throw to second, not in time. Into center field. Elvis up, going to third. The throw by Garcia, not in time. A stolen base, a throwing error, and the Rangers have Andrus at third with nobody out.
Being aggressive on the bases. I think it might have been a hit and run the way David swung at that pitch. Elvis is looking in. That's usually a key that it's a hit and run. Had a good jump anyway, though. Rangers had this situation a couple of times last night with one out, and they were unable to get the run in. Elvis going into third base. And now with no outs and the infield back in the middle, you just have to get this run in.
1-2 pitch, and that's in the dirt to David Murphy. It is 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Elvis with his 11th stolen base in 12 tries this year.
Really came into play last night in a 1-run game. The opportunities that the Rangers didn't cash in on.
Shot foul. Yeah, and you know, we hear so much about hitting with runners in scoring position. That wasn't the Rangers' problem, that hitting with runners in scoring position. He was getting the runner in from third with less than 2 outs. Whether you get a hit or not, you can score a man without getting a hit, and that's what the Rangers were really lacking last night. 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position, that's fine, but you can go 0 for 8, and if you score those 3 men, you win the ball game. Check swing and went around, and Murphy gone on strikes. 1 away, and Lance Berkman now coming up.
Sanchez has excellent assortment of off-speed pitches. It's an outstanding sharp curveball with a strikeout pitch for him. Early in the game, he's not throwing as hard as he does sometimes. He can reach the mid-90s. Game where he struck out 17, he reached the mid-90s a number of times. He's thrown a no-hitter in his career. He has 3 one-hitters in his career.
Now here's a guy who's had some success against Sanchez. You see the 5 for 13 for Lance Berkman. Detroit pulling their infield all the way in here in the first. And Sanchez misses with the first offering. Everybody in at the cut of the grass. If you had a slower runner at third, we saw this the other day in Oakland, you could play the infield at halfway depth and still have a play at first at home. But with Elvis' speed, you can't do that. A rip and a miss by Berkman.
Managers are reluctant to play the infield in early in the game with nobody out. Feeling is it's a lot easier to get a hit through the infield or bloop one over the infield. And with nobody out and a blooper over the infield, the feeling is you could have a bigger inning. With 1 out, lesser chance of a big inning and more inclination on the part of the manager.
That pitch gets away. Elvis coming down the line. He will score. The fastball up and in. It got by Avila, and Elvis scores. The Rangers lead it 1-0.
That's one way of getting them in. Last night, Avila blocked a couple balls in the dirt with a man on third base. Did a nice job. Now Elvis hit the first pitch for a single. And that's kind of a catchable ball, not an easily catchable ball, but I think it would go as a pass ball.
Looked like Avila might have gotten blocked out a bit by
could have
Berkman's elbow.
Might have lost it.
It is going to be a pass ball. Now the 2-1 pitch, and Lance takes outside. 3 balls and a strike. So for the moment, that run is unearned. Depends on what happens with Berkman and Beltre here. Sanchez back to the wide. 3-1 pitch outside. Ball 4. Berkman another walk. 14 walks now in his last 16 ball games.
You can see the catcher and his eyes. His eyes closed as the ball came in there, and it kind of gave an indication that he might have lost that ball.
And he might have thought it was going to hit him too. You know how something is going to skip off and
hit you.
Yeah, and you kind of blink at it. In any event, the fastball charged, and then Berkman draws the walk. No 1 on, still just 1 out. Adrian Beltre, the hitter. Beltre 2 for 3 against Anibal Sanchez in his career. Chops that first pitch foul. It's 0-1.
Sanchez had a lot of injury problems early in his career. In 2003, he missed the whole minor league season. 2007, 2008, 2009, the most innings he had was 86. He had 51, he had 30. Shoulder tendonitis, labrum tear, shoulder sprain. Finally, in 2010, he got healthy and stayed healthy.
Beltre whips one down the right field line. It is falling and twisting and just foul. There was no way that Torrey Hunter was going to catch that if it stayed in fair territory. And the ball just did squirm off into foul territory when it came down.
Last 3 years, Sanchez has averaged about 195 innings and made all his starts. Before that, he had a lot of injury problems.
Yeah, he had both shoulder repair and elbow repair too. Been able to come back and pitch very effectively. 0-2, the count to Adrian Beltre. Rangers lead 1-0 here in the first inning. Base hit to right field. Berkman turns second and stops as Torrey Hunter comes up with the ball pretty quickly. And Adrian Beltre, an opposite field single. And that makes that run that Elvis Andrus scored on the pass ball now an earned run. Beltre's base hit, 2 aboard, still just 1 out. Nelson Cruz coming up.
With Adrian, you never know where he's going to hit the ball. He just uses the whole field, but that was a nice job of taking a ball, sinking away, and going the other way with it. Big hole between first and second.
Cruz takes a belt-high fastball. It's 0-1. Nelly, a tough night last night. He had a base hit, but in 4 trips, but grounded into 2 double plays. Even though he hit the ball hard, they were tailor-made double play balls. That part of the struggles the Rangers had offensively last night. Well, a big rip there, a foul tip. He's down to the count 0-2.
Pretty good hanger to hit right there.
Anibal Sanchez in hot water in the first inning. Elvis began things by singling, stole second, went to third on the air, scored on a pass ball. Lance Berkman walked with 1 out. Beltre singled him along. That's in the dirt, and Avila able to block that, keeping it near home plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Sanchez making his second career start in this ballpark. He did not fare very well in his first start. That was back in 2011, July 1st. Gave up 7 runs in 3 2/3 innings. Nelly having a good year with runners in scoring position. Another one in the dirt, and again, Avila probably feeling he's getting a little too much practice at balls in the dirt. Don't need any more for this inning anyway.
Well, the good thing is, for the Tigers, he's very good at it.
Yep. So the count is even at 2-2 to Cruz. Lance Berkman with a lead from second. He's at the bottom of your screen. And Cruz trying to take one the other way, fouls it straight back.
Sanchez gradually has his fastball up to 95 miles an hour now. First pitch Elvis hit was 89 miles an hour.
You know, we talked about this with Verlander the other night. A lot of guys on this staff have learned to pitch the way Verlander has, that you reserve your best fastball for later on. Slicing fly ball to right field toward the line and in a few steps. Torrey Hunter makes the grab, and everybody stays put. There are now 2 outs for Mitch Morland. We're talking about Justin Verlander. You never see his best fastball until he gets in trouble or gets into the 7th or 8th inning. You never see his 97, 98, 99. We saw it early last time, but a lot of guys that come over to the Detroit staff learn to pitch that way watching him. And I think it's a valuable lesson for most guys to learn.
You know, last night, Buzz, it almost looked like going to his 97 mile an hour fastball hurt him last night. It looked like he just was rearing back, throwing as hard as he could. The ball straightened out.
Oh, Verlander, you mean?
Yeah, Verlander hit the middle of the plate, and they kind of teed off on him.
Yeah.
Last night might have been a night to maybe take a little off.
Thursday night, yeah.
Yeah, first night, sorry.
Yeah. Here's Mitch Morland. There's a rip and a miss. It's 0-1. Yeah, I agree with you. You know, that the last 2 times for Verlander, apparently he has not had good command. He didn't have good command here on Thursday night. Here's his line, 8 runs and 6 hits and 2 walks, and also a hit batter. And apparently against Cleveland, he had the same kinds of problems.
Yeah, he walked 5 guys through 100+ pitches in 5 innings against the Indians. So, yeah, command has been an issue for one of the best. It's tough to be perfect in 33 starts.
Yeah. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Mitch, a rare 0 for last night. You see, the month of May has been very kind to Mitch Morland. He has bludgeoned it with a .317 average and 6 home runs. Trying to pick up at least 1 more here in the first inning. Outside, 2 balls and a strike. Well, Mitch, limited experience against Sanchez, just 0 for 2. Morland over the last 2 weeks of play has hit just over .350. Outside and high, a changeup hanging high and away. And it's 3-1 now, so Mitch will look for a pitch in a location, see if he can drive it. If he continues the inning, Robinson Chirinos, the Ranger catcher tonight, waiting in the on-deck circle. Now that's command outside the strike zone.
Now throwing right in that center square. Make it have a lot of symmetry to it.
3-1 pitch. Outside, ball 4. That will load him up for Chirinos.
Right on first and second, he still didn't want any part of Mitch in that at bat. And he got strike 1, and then he tried to throw it somewhere near the strike zone, hope Mitch would swing at it, but no success.
Jeff Jones, the pitching coach, going to go out and have a talk with his battery. Anibal Sanchez and Alex Avila. Just give him kind of a break. And most pitching coaches, good ones, and Jeff Jones is one of those good ones, give the guy a mental break and try to let himself relax and then go about, okay, what are you going to do now? Now, refocus on this hitter coming up. How are you going to work to him? And what do you want to do first pitch? What do you want to throw it? The bad pitching coaches walk out there and you say, hey, go get him.
You saying Art Fowler was a bad pitching coach?
No.
He used to go out and say, Billy wants me to talk to you and tell you that Babe Ruth is dead, so throw a strike.
Throw strikes. Billy's chewing my rear end out, so will you please get this guy out.
Get this guy out.
No, I think that's very common sense. Rip and a miss on the breaking ball. It's 0-1 to Robinson Chirinos.
27 pitches in the first inning for Sanchez. I'd love to sneak a few more in right here. Take advantage of the opportunity. Sometimes good starting pitchers, you let them off the hook early, they put it together, and then they're tough. Got an opportunity right here.
Chirinos making his third start for the Rangers. It's 1 for 4 in each of the first two. Fouls that away. Had a good pitch to work with and fouled it back. It's 0-2.
Yeah, this is one that's hittable. It's supposed to be down and away, and it's right in his wheelhouse.
Well, now he'll have to grind a little bit. Berkman at third, Beltre at second, Morland at first. Base is full of Rangers. They already have one in the inning. They would like a multiple run first inning. Chirinos not quite through the process, the thought process yet, so he asked for time. Now he's back in there ready to work. Now Sanchez wants Alex Avila to recycle those signs. Rangers have put a couple of hits together and a couple of walks. They've scored a run, and they're looking for more with the bases full. The 0-2 pitch. Way inside, almost hit him. Avila having to bounce around back there, and kind of a warm evening to do that with the catcher's gear on.
Ball moved so much it didn't even come close to being a strike. Just kept sinking and tailing in.
1-2 to Chirinos. And that's outside. 2-2. Robinson Chirinos had a very good start at Round Rock. He was playing some third base, catching some, DHing some. Sanchez having the kind of outing that will pop the gray hairs out for Jim Leland. An off-speed pitch again. That's fouled off to the right. Still 2-2. Rangers, as I'm sure you remember, got Chirinos from the Tampa Bay Rays. Rays had designated him for assignment, and the Rangers ended up getting Chirinos on a cash deal. Sent him to Round Rock and kind of stashed him away down there. Needed him when A.J. Pierzynski had to go on the disabled list. And now Avila is going to go out and have a talk with Anibal Sanchez. Well, this is probably as much out of sorts as Sanchez has been in a while. 7 consecutive quality starts for him. And I doubt that he's had a rough patch like this, especially in the first inning.
He's only given up 3 earned runs in the game once all year. And never more than that.
Sanchez sets, and the 2-2. Now ball to short. Peralta goes the short way, and that'll do it for the Rangers. They score a run on a couple of hits. They lead 3. There was 1 error. We're going to the second. Rangers 1, Tigers nothing. Fox Sports Southwest. Welcome in Jim Knox. Jim.
I appreciate it, Buzz. Packed house here at the ballpark tonight. Ranger fans enjoying the evening. You bet. Community Corner tonight, we're talking about the Texas Rangers Labor Day race. That's right, Labor Day race presented by Medical Center Arlington. Let's go to the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation to find out more and enter the race. Log on to texasrangers.com/race. Buzz?
All right, Jim, thank you. Now Justin Grimm back out to the hill to take on the Tigers here in the second. A 1-0 Ranger lead. Victor Martinez, the designated hitter, leading things off. And the fastball from Grimm just a bit off the outside corner. Martinez, a .213 hitter, a couple of home runs, 19 driven in. He's still trying to get back in game shape, if you will, after missing all of last year. Ripping a foul back. Martinez having surgery to repair a left knee problem, a significant left knee injury, costing the entire year. Just now rounding back into shape as far as seeing live pitching again. 1-1 delivery is a breaking ball that's inside. Martinez going back to 2011 with the Tigers. Right up there among the batting leaders with a .330 average in the American League.
Laid off that changeup. That was a pretty good pitch. I don't know how he kept him swinging at that.
3-1 now.
Pretty good disciplined hitter. Yeah, good enough. Could have been called a strike.
Inside, ball 4. And that's not what you want to do when you are given a 1-0 lead to work with, is walk the leadoff man. Well, Justin Grimm, who never gave any indication of missing his spots in the first inning, walks Martinez on a 3-1 pitch. Now Alex Avila, the catcher, will come up. Avila, a 185 hitter so far this year.
The thing he doesn't want to do is get away from his fastball. That was the effective pitch for him in the first inning. He jammed Cabrera, jammed Fielder, both with fastballs. Commanded it pretty well. Up behind in that count with his changeup.
Fastball, belt high strike. .23 pitches so far for Justin. 13 strikes, 10 balls. He's only had the 1 walk, which strike to ball ratio might indicate he's had more, but that is not the case. The 0-1 pitch coming to Avila. Off speed, swung on and missed. It's 0-2.
Good curveball. Boy, when he's spotting his fastball on both sides of the plate and keeping his curveball near the strike zone, he can be tough.
Yep.
That's a good curveball, boy. Sharp breaking curveball.
Working with Robinson Chirinos behind the plate. Grimm comes set, a check of first. The 0-2 pitch. Called strike 3.
And there's throwing your fastball on both sides of the plate. Painted the outside corner with that one. Watch the glove and watch the ball. Exactly where he had the glove, right on the outside corner. That's executing the pitch to perfection.
First strikeout for Justin Grimm. What you call putting the handcuffs on a hitter right there. Avila had no chance to swing the bat. Johnny Peralta, the shortstop. 7th place hitter, and he takes the breaking ball that is just off the outside court for ball 1. Peralta, 4 home runs, 18 driven in, that great on base percentage. Just over .380. Rangers looking for the 2 ball if they can get it from Peralta. 2-0 the count.
Peralta had a rough season last year. He only hit .239. One thing he did, though, between last year and this year is he lost 10 or 12 pounds. He looks thinner. Some people say he's showing a little more agility at shortstop. Can't argue with the offensive numbers.
Nope. Sure can. Good fastball. That's off the outside corner. It's 2-1.
Yeah, there's the key, Buzz. 2-0. Throw your fastball there, and it's not a problem.
In his last start, that 2-0 fastball too many times was in the middle of the plate, and then you're pitching right into the hitter's strength. But when you can hit that side of the plate, even though it's 2-0, it's tough for the hitter to be too aggressive with that pitch.
Grimm's 2-1 pitch. And that missed. It's 3 balls and a strike. And Peralta hitting in the number 7 slot. He'll be followed by Omar Infante, the second baseman. One out. The Walker Victor Martinez at first base. Grimm from the belt. Hard hit by Beltre into left field. Murphy over to cut it off, and at second is Martinez. So runners at first and second, 1 away for Omar Infante. Well, folks, Fox Sports is proud to partner with Johns Hopkins Medicine for this year's Fox Sports Supports Charities. Johns Hopkins is at the forefront in groundbreaking research into autoimmune disorders like multiple sclerosis and lupus. Join us in the fight. Donate by visiting hopkinsmedicine.org/Fox.
Early visit to the mound. I think Mike just wants to have the conversation now before any more damage is committed.
Yep. Just the trust your stuff.
Could be. Get ahead. You know, he got behind 3-1, and that pitch was a pretty good pitch to hit to a good hitter. So yeah, I think it's trust your stuff, get ahead, work for him in the first inning.
And here's a guy that a very good hitter, hitting at the bottom of the order. 316 for Omar Infante, and the Tigers have had Infante most of the time hitting in the number 9 slot. They've had the best production from the 9th hole in the American League. But here's a guy you want to make sure and pitch ahead against. A guy that has the ability to put the bat on the ball. Make sure you're throwing quality pitches right from the get-go. And there is a strike. It's 0-1. See what Infante has done the last 10 ball games. It's been pretty impressive for the Tigers. Double play ground ball. Elvis to Garcia on to Morland. Double play. That's exactly what Mike Maddox went out there and told him to do. Get the 2 ball and we'll see you at the bench. So 6-4-3. The Tigers are gone in the second inning. No runs to hit. And 1 man left. 1.5 in the books. Rangers 1, Tigers nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. Twitter poll. And our question tonight, what is your favorite weekly promotion? And you have 4 choices. Just go to Twitter and pick out the one you want, your favorite promotion. And if it's Autograph Wednesdays, just place hashtag FS Autograph. Or if it's Dollar Hot Dog Wednesdays, FS Hot Dog, or FS Fireworks, if you like Firework Fridays. Lois Martin fouling off the first pitch. And the last one, Ice Cream Sundays. Like that, hashtag FS Ice Cream. We'll give you the results a little bit later on in the ball game of your Twitter poll results. Lois Martin, a .274 hitter. Takes the pitch off the outside corner, and that moves the count to 2-1. Couple of home runs, 5 driven in. Rangers now in a stretch of right-handed starters against them, so Lois Martin getting the majority of the starts. Rangers went through a 17-game span where they faced 11 left-handed starters. Now it's Craig Gentry's turn to start most of the ball games. So gone in cycles. Martin, you can see in the last 10 ball games, has really risen to the occasion. 308. Ground ball, base hit to right field. And Martin continues to swing a hot bat. Had a triple last night. He leads off the Rangers' second with a single. And again, good speed at first base for the Rangers with Leury Garcia coming up.
Curveball stayed up, pretty good pitch to hit. Rangers missed a few in the first inning, good pitches to hit. They keep getting them. Eventually, they're going to start hitting.
So they want to set first. And a snap throw over there that drives Martin back. Leury Garcia down to the number 9 slot last night. He batted second in last night's game, giving Ian Kinsler a couple of nights off to nurse that a sore rib muscle back into shape. 0-1 the count. Here's Ian. Ron Washington said Ian's still capable of pinch running like he did last night. Also capable of playing defense. Said the only thing that bothers him still is swinging the bat. 0-1 pitch off the outside corner, 1-1. Leury checking with third base coach Gary Pettis. See what might be on here. Lois Martin with 3 stolen bases in 5 attempts is at first. And he draws another throw. With the speed of Garcia, third baseman Miguel Cabrera running well in front of the bag down the third base side. Little snap throw to first. Boy, that's really an advantage. A guy that handles the bat like Garcia does. And make that third baseman come in and gives you so much more room to work with if you swing the bat over there. Harder for the third baseman to react the closer he is to home plate. Sanchez started into the stretch and thought better of it, backed off the pitching rubber. Sanchez, the 29-year-old, comes set at the belt. There goes the runner. The pitch swung on and missed. The throw to second, not in time. In with his 4th stolen base, Lois Martin.
Rangers getting aggressive on the bases. Second leadoff single. Second steal of second base.
You're looking at a guy in Alex Avila who threw out almost 27% of the runners last year, which for today is pretty good. He hasn't really come close in this game. And down on strikes, Leury Garcia, a wave and a miss. That's out number 1. Second strikeout for Sanchez. And it takes him back to the top of the Ranger order for Elvis Andrus. Elvis opened the game up for the Rangers by lining the first pitch that he saw through the hole on the left side for a base hit. Stole second, went to third on the throwing error, scored on a pass ball. Without Kinsler in the lineup, of course, Elvis the natural leadoff guy for Ron Washington. It's a fastball for strike one. Sanchez about ready to throw his 43rd pitch of the ball game. In the dirt, Avila made a great pickup. And with Martin at second, he had to come up with that cleanly, or Martin was headed for third. Leonis, along with Elvis Andrus and Leori Garcia and company, Greg Gentry, really practice anticipating that ball in the dirt. They are very well aware of it, and if there's any mishandling by the catcher, they are off and going. The 1-1. 1-2. Mills taking a little walk and having a talk with himself. 21 of the last 25 games Elvis has hit safely in. Seems like years ago we were talking about Elvis being mired in a pretty good slump, hitting about 180. And that pitch is a bit low. It's 2-2. Outfield playing fairly shallow in both center and right with Elvis up there. Infield, kind of an odd alignment with fielder way off the line at first. Outside, it's 3-2. But with one out, Elvis trying to get aboard. David Murphy, the Rangers' number 2 man, is going to be next. Martin at second, 1 out. Rangers leading 1-0 here in the second inning. Payoff pitch. Hit hard, pulled just foul outside third. And we'll come back and try it again.
Now, Sanchez has already thrown 47 pitches. He's only got 1 out here in the second inning. Rangers making him work. He's throwing a lot of pitches.
About 12 pitches per out.
That ratio is going to get you out of here in about the 4th inning.
Yeah. Probably what Jim Leland's thinking. Sanchez ready again. And another chopper foul. That might have been ball 4, but Elvis looking for it in there. He spoiled the good pitch.
That ball had some pretty good movement on it, too. That ball was a ball that started as a strike and ended up out of the strike zone. The pitch that Rick Porcello threw to Elvis last night with a man on third base.
That's right.
Jammed him, and that's when he hit that little blooper to fielder.
Sanchez trying to get Avila to go through the signs. Now he finds one that he wants. And another pulled foul down the third base side. Well, Elvis hanging tough. He is battling Sanchez. Counter remains 3-2. Rangers have forced Sanchez now to throw 50 pitches. His next pitch will be at half 100. 1 on, 1 out in the bottom of the second inning. Another 3-2 pitch coming. And another foul ball. Well, Elvis has been wearing out the foul balls on the third base side. And Justin Verlander, well, some people would say that's why he's a pitcher. I don't buy that.
No, that guy's an athlete. You can tell looking at him. Just didn't have his heart catching that ball.
And if you told him
he didn't care if he caught it.
No, he didn't. Foul tip straight down, and well, when you get a catcher reaching up like that, that's dangerous territory. It kind of stretches all the protective equipment out of their normal place. Well, we'll take a few minutes here. The Tiger trainer out to try and help Alex Avila.
The only thing that can help a catcher in that situation is time. And, you know, if you're a catcher, it's not the first time, won't be the last time You just have to be able to play with bumps and bruises, whether they're on your knees, your shoulders, crouching down, hot outside. I don't know why anybody would want to be a catcher.
Yeah.
Although, if you're a good catcher, you can stay in shape. You can stay in the big leagues for 15 years, that's for sure. You can be a starter for 10 or 12, and then the backup catcher for 5 or 6.
And if you're really good, you can hang around for 20 or 22.
Yeah, like Rick Dempsey.
Yeah. Or Pudge.
Carlton Fisk.
Well, everybody ready? Another 3-2 pitch coming. Line drive, right field. Hunter going over. He reaches up. It's off his glove. It's going to the wall. Martin around third. He will score. Going for third is Elvis. He's in standing. The Rangers lead 2-0 as Elvis triples off the glove of Torii Hunter.
Well, I know Elvis would say, and I'll echo it for him, it's about time a line drive eluded a fielder. He's hit so many balls like that this year. You know, Buzz, you were talking when he was hitting 180. That's why he was hitting 180, because balls like this were being caught. Well, finally, that inside-out stroke and line shot doesn't get caught, goes right off the end of Torii Hunter's glove for a triple. Boy, that was a battle there. Not sure how many pitches that was, 8, 10 pitches.
And now the infield for the Tigers pulled all the way in again, and David Murphy. Oh, he had a rip at that first off-speed pitch. And Elvis putting on the Jets right about there. Clapping his hands saying, yeah, it's about time. Third triple of the season, and Elvis now with 14 RBI. High tight fastball rushes David Murphy back. 1-1 the count. Murph went down swinging his first time up.
Got that man on third, 1-out situation, infield in. Make some contact and get that third run in here.
Murphy 11 runs driven in this year. Takes the breaking ball to the back door. It's 1-2. Murphy the average of 209 as he faces Sanchez here in the second inning. Right-hander's ready. Inside, just missed with the fastball. That evens the count at 2-2. Had that comeback fastball that didn't quite come back. That is just low and outside. We're really eyeballing those pitches. The count has gone full.
It's trying to hit both sides of the plate, but he missed both times.
Payoff pitch. Little tapper out in front of the mound. Coming in to score is Andrus. The ball is thrown away down the right field line. Murphy to second. He is going for 3. Here comes Hunter's throw. The slide, he's safe. Rangers running wild. They lead 3-0.
I thought David might have made a bad choice challenging Torii Hunter. But that's just being aggressive and forcing the outfielder to make a throw. There's a good example of if you make contact, something good can happen. No angle for Sanchez when he fielded that ball. You watch him when he fields it. David is right between him and the throw, and that forces the high throw. Not sure if it's an error all the way or hitting an error.
Yeah, it's an error all the way.
All the way, okay.
All the way. Gets the RBI.
3-base error and an RBI.
Well, the Rangers take a 3-0 lead, looking for more. The infield stays in. And Lance Berkman, who drew a walk in the first, steps to the plate. Sanchez first pitch. Line drive, base hit. In to score is Murphy. Berkman the RBI single. The Rangers lead 4-0.
That's taking advantage of your opportunities. They've got Sanchez struggling right now. I don't care what kind of shape you're in. You throw 60 pitches in 2 innings when it's 90 degrees out, it's going to take something out of you. Lance jumps on the first pitch he sees and rips it through the drawn-in infield.
The Tigers have committed 2 errors in the ball game. They really haven't had nearly the effect that the Rangers' 5 hits have. They have gotten some key base hits, and they have run the bases with abandon here tonight. It's paid off at every turn. Elvis has been aboard both times, a single and triple. He's driven in a run, stolen a base, and you know that Ron Washington has to be happy with the aggressiveness of his club.
1 out in the second inning. This will be Sanchez's 60th pitch.
Oh, and Beltre going down to a knee, fouled back that hanger. It is 0-1.
Jim Leyland will wait as long as he can before he goes to the bullpen, but sooner or later someone's going to have to get up in that bullpen. Probably try to get him to throw 100 pitches, 110 pitches, and hope he can sneak through a couple more innings just to save the innings from the bullpen.
And Beltre pulls that foul right past Jim Leyland.
The other side of it, Buzz, the guy Sanchez has struck out 66 batters in 52 innings. That's 4th in the league in strikeouts. But he hasn't been able to put the Ranger hitters away tonight. You know, he's had 2 strikes, but Elvis hung in there. David Murphy hung in there, made some contact. He just hasn't been able to get the swing and a miss tonight.
Now, he's had 2 strikeouts, but that's been it. And you're right, Tommy. He hasn't had the kind of command that's going to lead to strikeouts.
No.
Oh, look out.
He's getting them in both dugouts.
And Beltre's going to have to get a new piece of lumber after that one off the end of the bat. Cracked the one he had. The next pitch for Sanchez in this inning will be number 31. Watch, loves those sunflower seeds. Boy, he gets going on him.
I do too.
Jackie Moore telling Mitch Moore, hey, don't you get hurt, man. You make sure and stay behind that screen. One of us gets picked off, that's okay. To right field, that's a base hit.
How did he hit that pitch?
Berkman again stopping at second base. I don't have any idea.
That's the second ball that Adrian Beltre's hit in the same spot, but they couldn't have been more different pitches. One was a sinker down and away. That was a fastball out over the plate, about chin high. That thing's not even close to being a strike.
Well, that apparently, though, is right in Adrian's wheelhouse when it's up and away like that. He likes that pitch where you get a good look at it. It's high level.
Again, they've got him on the ropes right here. They had bases loaded in the first inning. Wiggled out of it with only 1 run. The Rangers have 3 already, but I want to remember back a couple of days to that huge inning they had.
Nelly Cruz, a tapper to third. To second, they get 1. The return to first in time. And the double play ends the inning for Sanchez and the Tigers. But the Rangers score 3 times. They leave a runner. We're going to the third. Rangers 4, the Tigers nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. low yearly prices. Watch every out-of-market game live on over 350 supported mobile and connected devices in HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. Visit MLB.TV today. MLB.TV, it's baseball everywhere. Justin Grimm, first pitch of inning number 3 is a strike to Avisail Garcia. This young man, I should say, kind of a clone of Miguel Cabrera. At least that's what the Tigers will tell you. He came up last year, and people were saying how much he not only looks like Cabrera physically, but he's same kind of swing, same kind of hitter. And that is saying something.
Well, he's also from Venezuela, and you can tell the stance and the swing. He had to have watched Miguel Cabrera and developed the same style swing, because it does look just like him. Looks like him in the face, too, for that matter.
2-1 pitch from Grimm. Got him on the fist, and that's fought off to the right. It's 2-2.
He was an A-ball last year. Got promoted to the Tigers for a little bit and did a nice job in 40 at-bats. He was on the disabled list until May 1st. He had a heel problem. And then hit 400 in AAA, 40 or 50 at-bats. And here he is back in the big leagues.
2-2. Little nubber out in front of home plate. And they're going to say the home plate umpire, Mike Belinsky, says it came up and hit Garcia while he was in the batter's box. So it's going to be a foul ball. Yeah.
Hit him in the hand.
Yep. Then we'll come back and try it again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, Garcia had his first major league home run the other day, as a matter of fact, against the Astros' Dallas Keuchel. Inside, and the count goes full. 3-2 to Garcia. He is hitting in the number 9 slot tonight, trying to get a board for the top of the order, and then Andy Dirks.
Justin walked the leadoff hitter in the second inning for the bottom of the order, but you don't want to walk the leadoff hitter for the top of the order.
Base hit to right field for Garcia.
That looks a lot like Cabrera right there, too.
Sure does. It's time for a Mazda game break. Let's go to Dana Larson. Dana? All right, Dana, thank you. A 1 on, 1 out. Dirks popped out to Adrian Beltre in the first. And he takes the pitch just off the outside corner. It is 1-0. Dirks now 3 for 10 in this series. This is the 3rd game of the 4-game weekend series. Concludes tomorrow night. Chopper foul at home plate. Good pitch by Justin Grimm. Got it in on Dirk's fist. Dirk's walking around, and foul ball got him, came up and chewed on him a little bit, so he's going to have to walk off the pain. Now he's back in there, ready to go. Garcia, a modest lead at first. Nobody out here in the 3rd inning. Pitch pulled foul, pulled sharply foul down the first base side. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Grimm okays the sign. That target put outside of the left-handed hitter. 2-2 as the fastball sailed high. Dirk's one of the hotter Tiger hitters in those last 10 games, as that batting average would tell you. Grimm has the sign he wants and comes set. The 2-2 pitch. 3-2. So Dirks with a full count, trying to get aboard also. Like Garcia and Torrey Hunter. The right fielder waits in the on-deck circle. You need a strike here. You need to have this ball put in play. There goes Garcia. Pitch hit high in the air to right field. That is playable for Nelson Cruz. Camps under it, makes the catch. Back to first base goes Garcia. And that is an important out for Justin Grimm.
Fortunately, Dirks got underneath that fastball. You get in a fastball count where you can't walk a guy and you have to throw him a fastball. You have to throw him a strike. And he had a good swing at it, but fortunately he got underneath it.
Well, Elvis Andrus has been doing this quite a bit lately. When the pitcher's been having a little problem, he's taken the initiative to come in and talk to him, along with whoever happens to be catching, whether it be Giovanni Soto or, like tonight, Robinson Chirinos. And well, that really shows you how far Elvis has come. There was a time 2 years ago that he wouldn't have felt he had anything worth saying to go to the mound. And now he believes that he has a very valuable input to what's going on. Torrey Hunter skied out to right field, or to center field, I should say, in right center the first time. 0 for 1 tonight. Torrey now 0 for his last 15 times to the plate. 1-0 pitch on the way to him. And it's chopped foul. '17th year. Torrey originally started out in the Minnesota Twins organization, sneaking up on 300 home runs. He's not sneaking up, he's charging out. He's 2 home runs shy of 300 for his career. The 1-1. 2 balls and a strike.
Now Justin, when he can get ahead in the count, then his off-speed pitches are that much more effective. You can get a guy to chase a curveball a lot easier when it's 1-2, 0-2 out of the strike zone. You just don't want to get locked into fastball counts to this kind of a team and have to throw a fastball.
Grimm's next pitch. Garcia on the move. The pitch is lined to right field. Cruz is going back. He can't get it. It's one hop off the wall. Garcia being waved around third. There will be a no throw from Leury Garcia. And an opposite field double for Torrey Hunter gets the Tigers on the board. It's now 4-1 Rangers.
Kind of being locked into a fastball count right there.
Well, Mike Maddox again out to the mound, and Torrey Hunter snapping an 0 for 15 streak with that double over the head of Nelson Cruz. Hunter driving in his 21st run of the year. And Mike Maddox trying to get his young right-hander Justin Grimm back down where he needs to be. Pat on the chest, and Justin Grimm set to go back to work. He'll face Miguel Cabrera with Hunter at second base and 1 out here in the 3rd inning. Cabrera a little flare into center field his first time up that fell for a single. And he has had quite a series here against the Rangers. He's now 5 for 9. And he takes just off the outside corner for ball 1. 380 the average for Cabrera. Drove in his 42nd run of the year last night.
First pitch looked like a pretty good pitch according to our Fox tracks, according to our eyes as well.
Rip and a miss. 1-1 the count. Cabrera was looking for a breaking ball that time, trying to take it to right field. Grimm set. Fastball inside. It's 2-1. Cabrera, last year's Triple Crown winner, leading the league this year in RBI with 42. 3 balls and a strike. Justin Grimm really fighting himself right about now. Trying to figure out how he wants to pitch to guys and what kind of execution he can have. The 3-1 pitch to Cabrera. To center field. Coming on, Leonis Martin has the play, and staying at second is Torrey Hunter. Good pitch there on 3-1. Got the ball in on Cabrera.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're locked into a fastball count, that's fine if you can make a good pitch. And this is exactly what he does. He runs the fastball in on Cabrera's fist, and it causes a little pop up to center field. So that's one of the better pitches for Justin today. In that type of a situation, a man in scoring position, best hitter in baseball at the plate, struggling a little bit in this inning. It's a good confidence booster to be able to make that kind of a pitch and get him out.
Well, 2 outs now. Prince Fielder, who flied to left field, his only time up. And Justin Grimm, a little inside move. You know, a move like that just tells me Justin Grimm isn't sure what he's doing. There's no reason to make an inside move to try and get Torrey Hunter walking off if you're focused on making a good pitch to fielder.
Well, you don't expect Torrey to be running right now with 2 outs, so I guess I got to agree with you there.
Well, it's the kind of move you make when you come set and it flashes through your mind, I'm not really ready to make this pitch.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do something else.
Did you ever throw a pickoff to say first base when you weren't quite ready to make a pitch?
Yeah.
You said, I want to throw a ball.
Right.
Whatever. To relax or to get loose or whatever.
Yeah, clear my mind if nothing else.
Yeah.
0-1 pitch. Tried the fastball away and just missed outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, you get out of this inning right here. You've done a nice job of pitching. You can pitch out of a man on second, 1 out jam, Cabrera, Fielder, the 2 hitters. Maintain a 4-1 lead. A nice way to go back to the bench.
Torrey Hunter driving in the only Detroit run thus far with that 1 out double. Justin Grimm studying the series of signs that Robinson Chirinos is putting forward. The 1-1 pitch. Chop foul.
Well, Justin's pitch count's getting up there a little bit, kind of like Nick Tepish's was last night, but I think that's almost to be expected with 2 young pitchers early in their big league careers, pitching to this team with the kind of hitters they've got in the lineup, trying to be careful, trying to execute a game plan. I think it's kind of to be expected that you're going to have a relatively high pitch count.
Crowd getting behind Justin Grimm and the Rangers. The right-hander is set to work. The 1-2 pitch coming to Fielder. Ground ball through the hole on the left side, a base hit. Hunter will round third and score. And Prince Fielder, taking what the defense gave him, bounces a single right through the shortstop hole and drives in his 34th run of the year. It's now a 4-2 Ranger lead.
That's too bad. You make a pretty good pitch. He's just trying to stay alive at the plate and make a little contact. Runs the ball down and away and just kind of slaps it, little ground ball, into the shift.
Now the Tigers now 2 runs on 5 hits. They have put 3 of those hits together in this inning for their 2 runs. Victor Martinez walked his first time up. He is up there trying to prolong this inning. Line drive off the glove of Morland. It stays on the infield, so an easy play for Morland on to Grimm coverage. And that'll do it. And Mitch got some leather on that to keep it going down the line. 2 runs on 3 hits, 1 left. We're going to the bottom of the 3rd. 4-2 Rangers.
coming up to bat, and unless you've been living under a rock, you're well aware of the fact that Mitch has been swinging a hot bat lately. It was a tough start to the season. Mitch says he tries to take not to take the lows too low or the highs too high.
Try to get my work in all aspects, and I might not be the fastest or move the best, but that's something that I'm going to work on and continue to work on every day, and as well as my hitting. So it's something that's always going to be a work in progress for me. I can always get better. So that's kind of my mentality about the whole situation. Just keep working at it, and I'll work at it until I'm done.
And obviously we've seen both sides of his game bleed over into each other, flash in the leather of late, as well as hitting the ball quite nicely, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. Yeah, very true. Mitch, a very complete player. Drives this one high and deep to left center field. That is way up the alley. Goodbye. Morland going opposite alley. It's 5-2 Texas.
Anibal Sanchez only giving up one home run in 52 innings coming into this game. And Mitch Morland doing what he's done all season long, driving the ball to all fields with power. And I like what Mitch said. He's going to work on his agility and his speed. And he does have more agility and more speed. We talked about that defensively and on the bases. The work that he's doing is paying off because he looks different and he moves different. And it's not by accident. That's one fastball he's not going to get back.
Chirinos up the middle. It is into center field, a base hit. Robinson continues his streak of getting a hit in each of his starts. He is 1 for 2, and he's aboard with nobody out here in the third inning.
He knows that one's gone.
That thing's way out of here.
Well, the Tigers scored 2, and on one pitch, Mitch gets one of them back.
No, Chirinos at first. Leonis Martin, who singled his first time up, steps up there and he lays down a bunt. Not very far down the line, but it was good enough. Chirinos got a great break from first. Well, Avila able to throw out Martin. The sacrifice goes 2-3, and that is out number 1. Let's go over to Jim Knox again. Jim?
All right, Buzz and Tom, look what we found here. Julian Javier played 13 years in the bigs with the St. Louis Cardinals, 1 year with the Cincinnati Reds. 4-time World Series guy, went to the World Series 4 times. You're actually here because your family lives in Plano, but you're here also watching Nelson Cruz. You follow him in the Dominican Republic, correct?
Yeah, I came here not only to watch Nelson Cruz, but Beltre too, and Larry Garcia that they play with here, and Cabrera and some of the other guys from South America.
What do you think about the Texas Rangers this year?
Oh, they got a very good club, good pitching, good hitter. I think they're going to be in there this year again.
There we go. All right, good to see you. Enjoy the rest of the game. Appreciate it. Nice meeting you, Julian. Buzz?
All right, thanks, Noxie.
Julian Javier. Well, I remember him. I remember when they had an article, I think it was Sports Illustrated.
About the $1 million team?
What was it, $1 million team?
$1 million team. $1 million, 9 guys.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, $1 million team. Now you got an average salary of $3 million.
Yep. It's changed a little bit. Garcia, slow roller up the middle. That's right to the second baseman Infante. And Garcia out. On to third goes Chirinos. He's there, but with 2 outs now. And Elvis Andrus coming up. Elvis, a perfect night. 2 for 2 so far. 2 runs scored. A run driven in. Also stolen a base. Single and a triple. He's got that batting average back up to the 270 mark. You know things are going pretty well when you have your leadoff hitter batting for the 3rd time here in the 3rd inning. Breaking ball, and that is strike 1. Here's Smiley, who we saw in last night's ball game, up and loosening as Sanchez has gotten over the 70 pitch mark here with 2 outs in the 3rd inning. In the dirt, and Avila again having to move to his left very quickly. So you want to be a catcher, huh? You deal with all the pitchers that want to bounce balls right and left on in. Taking foul tips everywhere. Sanchez okays the sign, the 1-1 pitch. Inside, it's 2-1. Rangers 5 runs on 8 hits. Jim Leland's club 2 runs on 5 hits. They've committed 2 errors tonight. Rangers have played errorless ball. Elvis, a line drive, base hit to center field.
And that gets the 2
to
runs
score
back.
is Chirios. Robinson Chirinos crossing home plate, and the Rangers lead 6-2. Now, here's the Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery of the game, and it could be Elvis's night prior to that base hit. Stolen base in that first inning. Goes to third on the error, and then comes in on the pass ball. Next time up, right center field off the glove of Torrey Hunter, a run-scoring triple, and he would come in to score then. And what we don't show you on this freaky fast delivery is Elvis getting the RBI single, and that's the last hitter that Anibal Sanchez is going to face tonight. Drew Smiley called in, and the Rangers are leading 6-2 with 2 outs in the third inning. Take the EcoBoost Challenge at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Jack in the Box, where the Chipotle Chicken Club Combo is back. Well, David Murphy at the plate now. Left-hander Drew Smiley asked to come on and face him. And Murphy takes strike 1.
Smiley pitched last night, but just briefly. Could have been a third or 2/3 of an inning was all. Guy was in the rotation for a lot of the season last year, doing a great job in relief right now. Elvis, how about Elvis? 3 for 3, scored 2, knocked in 2 in 3 innings. A nice 2-out hit with a man in scoring position.
Rangers 6 runs on 9 hits. They have scored in every inning thus far. 1 in the first, 3 in the second, 2 here in the third. Looking for more with Murphy facing Smiley. Elvis, a couple of RBI, now 15 for the season. 0-1 the count to Murphy. 1-1.
Sanchez had only given up 12 earned runs in 8 starts.
So far, he's been charged with 5 earned runs, 6 runs altogether.
Yep.
And Elvis at first base is his responsibility. Outside, 2-1 to Murph. David 0 for 2 tonight, but he has scored a run, and he has driven in 1. Now he has a dozen RBI. And Washington hoping to move Murphy up and get him untracked a little more. Thought maybe the second spot might get it done for him. There goes Elvis. The pitch is outside. The throw is late and safe with the stolen base. His second of the night is Elvis Andrews.
A pretty nice day so far for Elvis. 2 runs, 2 stolen bases, 2 RBIs, and 3 hits, including a triple.
12 steals for Elvis. Ooh. Looking at that replay, he might have gotten one.
Tough call for an umpire, boy. You're trying to look at the tag, look at the hand touching the bag, and you've got the infielder right in the middle of it.
I guess in all fairness, Murphy fouls one away. We're going to point out the ones that are called against the Rangers and should point out the ones that are called for them, and that was definitely one for Elvis. The tag was applied before he got to the bag, but it goes in the books as his 12th stolen base. Twelve out of 13. Hit hard, but foul down the left side. And the count remains 3-2 to David Murphy. We're trying to extend the inning. If he's able to, Lance Berkman is waiting in the on-deck circle. Smiley peering in for the sign, has the one he wants. A check of second, and again the 3-2 pitch. Looped into center field. That is playable for Garcia. He comes in a few steps, makes the catch, and that will do it. But the Rangers come up with 2 more runs on 3 hits and 1 left. We're going to the 4th inning. Mitch Morland drives one out in the 3rd. The Rangers 6 and the Tigers 2 on Fox Sports Southwest.
At 2, we head to the 4th inning. Then Buzz and Tom, we got a special guest here, Paige Farragut with the Texas Rangers. It's never too late to get season tickets for Ranger fans because there's a lot of cool items, right, Paige?
Yes, there absolutely is. We can do prorated season ticket packages right now, and you will get guaranteed postseason options. We also do catch on the field at our ballpark where season ticket holders can run around in the outfield. We also do season ticket holder play dates where you can come out and catch fly balls and run around on the bases, and so many different things to come out and enjoy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Catch on the field. Season ticket holders, they actually down on the field, they play catch. That took place this afternoon, also tomorrow. A lot of cool things. So when they need, what they need to do to get season tickets, what do they need to do? Who do they call?
They call 972-RANGERS and talk to any one of our fabulous sales reps, or they can go online at TexasRangers.com.
There you go, Paige. Appreciate it. Good seeing you, Buzz.
All right, Noxie, thank you. Alex Avila leading off here in the top of the 4th inning. Rangers on top now 6-2. And Avila down on the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Avila, Peralta, and Infante.
Love to see Justin have a 1-2-3 inning here. Throw about 12 pitches and just get right back in the dugout.
I mean, good for him and good for the ball club, too.
Yep.
You want to feel like you're making progress. Tried the back door with that hook and almost got it in, but not quite. 2-2.
Didn't quite get there.
Weakly hit on the right side. It's going to be Garcia throwing to Grimm covering. And that is out number 1. Nice play by Grimm and Garcia.
I'm glad Mitch didn't get to it. Would have been a tough play for Mitch to catch that ball going towards second and then turn around and make the play. He probably would have been able to do it. It just would have been harder for him. One thing Mitch has got a real good touch at is that little flip to first base from wherever he might be. He can flip it underhand or the overhand flip. He's very accurate with that.
That probably is the most difficult read a first baseman has to make, is that which ground ball do I go for, and where's the second baseman, all that stuff. That's Adrian Beltre kind of giving Mitch a hard time about the, hey, you cover a lot of ground, but that's ridiculous.
Well, you know, you don't want to sit there and watch it go through into right field.
Right.
So you know your instinct is to try to catch the ball. So that is a tough play.
Johnny Peralta singled to left field his first time up. High and tight, 2-0. As a pitcher, I would have much preferred the first baseman go after everything he thinks he can get. I'll worry about covering the bag. I mean, rather than the scenario you just brought up where neither one of them goes for it, the ball rolls into right.
Someone catch it.
Yeah. 2-0 pitch to Peralta. Popped him up. Shallow right field toward the line. Nelly Cruz, wind pushing it toward foul ground, but there's room there for Nelson to make it. That is out number 2. So a good job by Justin Grimm to come back from being down to the count 2-0 and not taking it any further than a 2-ball count. It's the pop out to right, and with 2 away, Omar Infante comes up. Infante grounded into a double play. That was a critical juncture of this ball game. It was back in the second inning. Ball 1 is outside to him. Tigers now, by the way, grounded into 33 double plays as a team. In comparison, the Rangers have grounded into 38. Breaking ball, and that bends Infante back a bit and hits the inside corner. It's 1-1. Grimm, the next pitch. Waved out and missed.
Even better curveball that time.
Boy, that is a good hook.
First one kind of throw it for a strike, and this one break it off and make you swing and miss at it.
Good tight rotation on that thing. 1-2 is the count. Right back to Justin Grimm. That ball going about 20 miles an hour.
He hit a changeup back at him.
He did. And Grimm wasn't fooled. Nice play. There's what you wanted, Tom. That 1-2-3 inning. Very quick and simple. pitch locations for Anibal Sanchez. And you're going to see a recurring theme here in the middle of the plate, with the exception of Beltre. That was a crazy one, but pretty much middle and anywhere from mid-thigh to just above the belt. And
it was a major struggle for him tonight.
Yeah. That location is what leads you to giving up 6 runs in 2 2/3. Rangers took advantage. First ball swinging, and Lance Berkman hits a towering pop-up to shallow left. Shortstop Peralta back out there, makes the catch. And Lance flies out on the first pitch that he sees here in the 4th inning. That brings up Adrian Beltre.
A good swing. Just got underneath it.
Beltre 2 for 2. We saw on our Coors Light freeze scan that last pitch that he hit against Sanchez, about eye high, out away from him.
What could he hit now? Maybe, how about a change-up that's maybe a foot off the ground? Hasn't hit that pitch yet.
The fastball tails outside. What he needs to do is pull one foul right off the screen in front of the Tigers dugout, and that would confuse everybody. He's hit the ball the other way twice. 2-0 the count. Tom told you last night, Smiley worked 2/3 of an inning. That 2-1 Tiger win. And ball 3 is outside. Well, Adrian probably with the green light if he sees something he likes. He has 1 out of 2 in his career against Drew Smiley. 3-0 pitch. 3-1. Adrian hitting in the cleanup spot. He'll be followed by Nelson Cruz here in the Ranger 4th inning. Tap foul, and the count has gone full. Adrian, with the 2 hits, now has his batting average, as you notice, up over 280. And that is saying something for Beltre. He's done a lot of work in the last 3.5 weeks to get that batting average up. He has gotten warm. Inside corner, calls strike 3. Got him looking out away, and Mike Belinsky, the home plate umpire, called Beltre out. Made him kind of a wry smile. Says something to Malinsky.
He's trying to throw it on the outside part of the plate. Came close to the inside corner. I think Adrian's very seldom going to take strike 3.
2 outs, bases empty for Nelson Cruz. And ball 1 is inside. Cruz has flied to right and grounded into a double play. That's the 3rd double play that Cruz has grounded into in the last 6 at-bats.
And now he's been making the most out of his hits, but he's 6 for his last 36. Most of his hits have been meaningful home runs, though.
The pitch down and away. It's 3 balls and no strikes. Cruz was in a streak there in the 6th inning of games where he had 3-run home runs in like 4 or 3 of 5 games. There's a strike. It's 3-1. And they all turned the game around in one fashion or another. 5 of the last 8 hits have left the ballpark. 3-1 pitch, and that changeup floats in. It's 3-2. Smiley able to come back from a 3-0 count. He runs the string out. And the left-hander with the payoff pitch on the way. Inside, ball 4. Tried the same pitch that he struck out Beltre with. Didn't get the call that time. And Cruz aboard. Mitch Morland coming up. Well, folks, we invite you to tune in each Saturday at 10 a.m. right here on Fox Sports Southwest for Chevy Hometown Kids. It's not about the score, it's about the experience. 1 on, 2 out. Mitch Morland, 1 for 1 tonight. Hit a home run deep into the bullpen in left center field. Last time up, walked back in the 1st inning. Smiley sets and will make a toss to first base. I'm sure most of you are very well aware of Now Mitch Morland has handled left-handed pitching of late. The season numbers for Mitch: 10 home runs now, a .293 average. First pitch off speed, it's a strike. Mitch, you remember, opened the season 1 for 19 against left-handed pitching. Since then, he has gone 14 for 30 against southpaws. His last 14 games, he's also had 4 home runs in his last 6 games overall. 1 ball and 1 strike. Smiley study the signs. Left-hander sets a check of Cruz at first. Pitch pop foul. That will reach the seats on the third base side. Cabrera over just to take a look, but it's 9 rows back. A ball and 2 strikes to Mitch Morland. Smiley in last night's game came on in his 2/3 of an inning. Worked to Baker, Gentry, and Andrews. Gentry got on via an error, but had a strikeout and a fly ball to get his 2/3 an inning of work in. 1-2 pitch. Little number out in front of the plate. Going to be a tough play for Avila. Throw, and he just did get him. Oh, nice play for Alex Avila. Gets your bouncing out there to get Morland. Side retired. The Rangers strand their 6th runner of the game. We're going to the 5th. Rangers by 4. $1 ticket deal to take your family to the Rangers home game, and that's coming up on Monday against the Athletics. Log on to TexasRangers.com, enter Fox Sports as your coupon code, and don't miss out on this great offer from Fox Sports Southwest and the Texas Rangers. Now we're going to the top of the 5th inning, and joining us now, as always, is the co-host of Rangers Live before and after every ball game, Mark McLemore. Matt, it's good to see you. It's been a kind of a tale of 3 completely different ball games in the series so far, hasn't it?
It really has.
It's been odd.
You know, you look at that first night, it's like, okay, this is going to have to be a pitcher's duel. And that was a barn burner. And then last night's ball game, you get the pitcher's duel. Not that those guys aren't capable, but it wasn't the matchup that you would expect to have. And then tonight, you've got 2 starters doing different things. So it's been interesting.
Tom and I were talking about it last night, and people want to focus on not hitting with runners in scoring position, but not scoring guys from third is what really did them in last night. And tonight, every time they get somebody in scoring position, boom, it's all taken care of. So.
Well, you know what Ron, you know what Wash says. That's how baseball goes. Some days you get them in, some days you don't. But you know, it's just weird how this game works.
Abisail Garcia, powerful young 23-year-old outfielder. 1 for 1, single to right field his first time. 3 balls and a strike.
You know, you look at how Elvis was swinging the bat the first month of the season, hitting everything on the screws and nothing falling in. And now he's getting hits and not quite hitting the ball as hard or squaring them up as much. And, you know, they're kind of dropping in here, dropping in there. It's just one of those things.
My question is on Elvis, has it evened up yet? They said baseball.
No, it never evens up.
Never evens up. Okay.
Now that one that Torrey Hunter couldn't quite get to, that helps because that was being caught. There's a way to come back from 3-1, but I really don't believe it's come back for Elvis yet.
No.
I think he had, I don't know, I'll say 10
at least
ropes that were caught. Yeah.
At least,
maybe more. But you know, when you're not fighting for a new contract, it's a little easier. It's a little easier to take that, isn't it?
Just a little bit. I'll get him next time.
And maybe that, you know what though? Maybe that works to your advantage too, because you don't worry about it, and you don't press, and you come out of it maybe a little quicker.
One ball, no strikes, the count to Andy Dirks. Looper to right field. Cruz started back with the ball hanging up for him and able to grab that. That is out number 2, and that's 6 straight sent down by Justin Grimm. Ford leaderboard tonight. Talk about the rookie leader. Strikeouts by rookies in the American League. Justin Grimm, with the updated lead now, has 36, and his teammate Nick Tepish second with 31. The rest of the guys, both Caps and Maurer.
Caps is a reliever. He's right up there.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
The pitch into Torrey Hunter. Hunter last time up snapped an 0 for 15 in which he was mired with an opposite field double. Drove in a run. His 21st of the year. Hunter the kind of hitter too. You just, if he's going to get hot, and he's going to eventually when he's 0 for 15, make it Monday or Tuesday. Somewhere he's left here and gotten out of town.
It's always a good day when they're gone. But yeah, good hitters like that, you know, they're going to come out of it sooner or later. Those are the guys that don't worry about, oh, I'm 0 for 15. They know they're going to hit, and it's just a matter of time.
You remember the worst 0 for you ever took, Matt?
I had an 0 for 36.
36?
36.
Whoa, man.
0 for 36.
You're taking your bat back to the hotel room and swinging it in the mirror?
Swinging it in the mirror, sleeping with it, showered with it a couple of nights.
Now we're going to have a little question. Well, what Mike Malinsky said, he could hear the foul tip, and he immediately threw his hands up.
I don't think.
And he's going to tell Ron Washington, he said, I heard the ball tip.
The ball was in the dirt.
Off the bat.
He heard the ball hit the sand. That's what he heard. Oh, no way.
We didn't touch that ball.
Yeah, and you're right. He probably heard it hit the dirt.
No, it's tough to tell.
Yeah,
tough to tell.
That's kind of like.
But he made the call, and he's sticking by it.
Yeah,
which you have to do.
I'm gonna give Mike Malinsky the credit for making that call. We can't tell from up here.
Well, the count
I
remains.
didn't hear anything. He's down closer than we are. It's not fair.
And a base hit to center field. Well, comes back to get Justin Grimm as he leaves one in the middle of the plate. And Torrey Hunter now 2 for his last 2 times to the plate. He is aboard with 2 outs. Miguel Cabrera coming up.
Well, can get out of the inning. One good thing is Cabrera can't lead off the next inning, but you got to get him out this inning.
Well, the thing is right now, this is a very important hitter for Justin Grimm to come back after, you know, it'd be very easy to stand out there and say, I didn't get the call, this didn't happen right, that didn't happen right. You still got a 4-run lead, and you've got to come back now and take charge of yourself and go right after Cabrera. Make quality pitches to him. Not a bad breaking ball. It was outside for 1 ball and no strikes. Cabrera tonight 1 for 2. He has been sawed off both times on inside fastballs from Justin Grimm. And he gets a little roller this time down the third baseline. Grimm, bare hands, throws and gets him. Good job by Justin Grimm to come back and make Cabrera a little uncomfortable at the plate. No runs a hit, 1 left. We are halfway through the ball game. Rangers 6, Tigers 2. Home games, including Thursday, May 30th against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Sections 201 through 208 become the Kia K-Zone. Fans seated in the Kia K-Zone receive a complimentary t-shirt and a K-card to celebrate strikeouts thrown by Ranger pitchers. Tickets start at just $32 and can be found at texasrangers.com/K-Zone. A lot of fun out there. You see those yellow shirts quite frequently out there in the K-Zone. Robinson Chirinos, the number 7 here to start things off. It'll be the bottom third of the Ranger order here in the 5th inning, facing Drew Smiley. Smiley gave up a walk, but no damage to the Tigers in the 4th inning. Rangers leading 6-2. They have out-hit Detroit 9-6 tonight. Chirinos 1 for 2. Singled his last time up, came around to score on Elvis Andrus' RBI single. Pitch outside. It is 2-1. Visiting with Mark McLemore, as we always do. Mac, are you at all surprised at how well the depth the Rangers have built up has played this year? With the injuries specifically that have come into play. That's going to be out of play on the right side.
It's always surprising when you have guys that step up that you weren't counting on when you left spring training to step up and do something. So yeah, I'm a little surprised. I like seeing it. I like the fact that they have that depth and the young guys have come up. Tepish being one of them, claiming at this spot, and then Grimm coming in and just doing a great job. You've got the young guys out of the bullpen. You know, who knew what their roles were really going to be coming out of spring training, but to see them, step into those roles is really nice.
Chirinos caught looking at an off-speed pitch on the inside corner, and that is out number 1. Set back to for the game break once again. Here's Dana Larson. All right, Dana, thank you. Leonis Martin, the number 8 hitter, takes the first pitch low. Martin 1 for 1 tonight. Singled and scored in the second, had a sacrifice bunt.
You're talking about the depth in the starting pitching. If everyone was healthy at the start of the year, Colby Lewis, Matt Harrison, Ogando, and Martin Perez probably would have been 4 starters. And so you've had to come up with 4 different starters to make up for that.
No, that's a good point. And starting pitching, you can get by, I think, with maybe 1 or 2. But when you start feeling, like you say, 4 starting pitchers right at the end of spring training, that is really saying something. Colby Lewis resumes his rehab on Monday. He'll work with Frisco. A.J. Brzezinski starts a rehab with Frisco tomorrow.
Well, if Colby was healthy, then Martin Perez probably would have started the season in AAA, but he would have been one of those guys down there. You'd have probably Tepish, Grimm, and Perez pitching in AAA as your depth there, rather than having to use all those guys at the big league level right now.
Yep.
But that's the sign of a strong organization, that you've got that kind of depth that can hold their own in the big leagues while you wait for guys to come back. That's kind of the name of the game. The better the franchise, the better chance you've got of overcoming injuries.
Mac, I know somebody you can really appreciate what they're going through and what they're doing. Leury Garcia, a young man, asked to be a utility man, and that can't be the easiest of things to do at his age.
It's really not.
Martin out for number 2.
No, it's a difficult thing to do, to be able to be prepared to play different positions at the drop of a hat. And that young, normally that's a veteran player, a veteran role that a player fits for that, and that they understand the importance, and they know how to get ready, how to be ready, and how to stay ready. So Garcia's doing a great job. I think he's got some great mentors over there that he looks up to and gets a lot of information from. So that's why it's important to have those veterans on the team. But he's doing a great job at doing it.
Yeah, and what you were just talking about knowing how to be ready and when to be ready. Jeff Baker always mentions that when people talk about his role. He said, I know what it is. I've done it for a lot of years. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but I've got a pretty good routine. And I'm sure he has shared that with Leury Garcia.
Definitely. You've got to do that.
We'll pick up that conversation again one of these nights.
All
Mac,
right.
thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Rangers gone in order. And after 5 complete, Rangers 6 and the Tigers 2 on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas original jackpot game, and it's available at your favorite lottery retailer. Now we head to inning number 6. It'll be Prince Fielder starting things off the middle of the Tiger order to face Justin Grimm. Rangers leading 6-2. Fielder tonight drove in one of those 2 Tiger runs back in the 3rd inning. Grimm goes to work and misses outside. 1 ball, no strikes. The Fielder now 34 RBI. Batting average of .275. Well, he got him on the fist, sawed him off. Garcia, second baseman, had to charge it. And that is out number one. Let's head over and say hello again to Jim Knox. Jim?
I appreciate it, Buzz. Special guest right here. We got a bunch of people in from Austin, courtesy of 104.9 ESPN Radio. They took the Fox Sports Southwest Fan Express in from Austin, arrived early this evening. And the Fox girls also on hand. Good to see you, girls. And we had Klecko on the bus. Packed house, Klecko.
It was packed. It was great. We love it.
And you love the Rangers?
Love the Rangers. Had my first boomstick. So excited. I won another one. I need it.
You look like you need a few more, but
yeah, I do. I'm training.
We'll get you a boomstick. Also, 4-year-old Connor on board. He's going to have a late night tonight. It's all worth it. Hey, good to have you guys out here. Way to go, Austin. Thank you very much. Buzz.
All right, Knoxley. He's going for 2 boomsticks. Now that you have to get verification on that.
Justin's retired 8 out of 9. The only base runner was Torrey Hunter's base hit up the middle last inning.
2-0 the count to Victor Martinez. And that's fouled off to the left. Out of play. It is 2-1. Victor Martinez tonight has really worked from ahead in the count all 3 times at bat. Walked his first time. Grounded out to the right side on a 3-1 pitch his next time up. And this is one of the guys that it looks like that Justin Grimm is having trouble dealing to. And this is by Morland down to the right field corner. That's going to be extra bases for Martinez. He will cruise into second with a 1-out double. And the Tigers now with their 7th hit of the night have a runner at second and 1 out for Alex Avila.
Pitch on the inside part of the plate. Mitch almost had a chance to make that play.
The second extra base hit for Detroit tonight. Alex Avila 0 for 2. He has struck out and grounded out. Ranger infield pulled a couple of steps around to the right. The outfield shading the left-handed hitting Avila slightly the opposite way. And a breaking ball is dropped in by Justin Grimm for strike 1. And as that breaking ball cut the strike zone in half, some action starting out in the Ranger bullpen. Just some stirring around out there. Call had been made to alert folks that might need somebody going here pretty quick. 0-1 pitch to Avila. Again on the outside part of the plate. 0-2.
Most pitches Justin has thrown in a game, 105. Other than that, he's been in the 90s. He's at 95 right now.
Grimm, a long look in. Victor Martinez, you see the runner at second base. 0-2 pitch. Ground ball to short. Elvis gobbles that up, fires a strike to Morland. Out number 2. And there is the Ranger bullpen. Jason Frazier and Michael Kirkman. Frazier, of course, the right-hander, loosening if needed here in the 6th inning. Well, that was an important out for Justin Grimm to get. He got it on 3 pitches to Alex Avila, and now Johnny Peralta will come up for his 3rd at bat.
I got him curveball, changeup, curveball. 3 good off-speed pitches to get Avila.
Peralta 1 for 2. And Grimm again, an inside move, checking Martinez back to the bag. Grimm set. And the first pitch. Good breaking ball. Sent Peralta back a bit. Came in for strike 1.
3 straight curveballs for strikes.
Well, the Tigers shortstop now with a batting average of .322. Grimm back to the plate. Chopper slowly hit to third. Beltre will make the throw on to first as Martinez caught. Good job by Justin Grimm to get a couple of quick outs after the 1-out double. 1 left. We're going to the bottom of the 6th. Rangers by 4. jackpot is worth $700 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. Tonight, the Rangers are hitting for John Cruz from Arlington. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, John Cruz from Arlington will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. The Rangers leading 6-2. Drew Smiley going to work to Elvis Andrus. And the first pitch is low and inside for ball one. Top of the Ranger order here in our Sonic Slam inning. Elvis 3 for 3 tonight. 2 singles, a triple, and 2 RBI. Tops that one foul. And the count moves to 1-1. Well, Elvis now a .274 hitter. Avila going out to say something to Drew Smiley. Smiley on since the 3rd inning, so he is starting his 3rd full inning of work. And he has pretty well quieted things down on the offensive front for the Rangers. He's allowed a walk, and that's been it. 7 hitters, 8 hitters that he's faced. The 1-1 pitch to Elvis. It's out of play to the club level on the first base side. 1-2. Elvis 1 for 5 in his career against Smiley. Ground ball fair down the left field line. Into the corner. And playing the ball around the corner is Andy Dirks. He gets control of it just as Elvis got to second. Well, Andrus put the brakes on, and Elvis now a home run shy of the cycle. His 6th double of the season has him at second with nobody out.
4 for 4 in 5 innings for Elvis. A pitch, it's not even a strike. It's a couple inches inside. And Elvis is able to not only hit it pretty well, but keep it fair. A lot of guys would pull that ball foul, but he positioned his hands in a way to get the angle of the bat on the ball, allowing it to stay fair.
David Murphy pulls one on the ground. That'll get the job done as Infante is up with it. Throws the fielder on the plate. Elvis Andrus advances to 3rd. He's there with 1 out. And Lance Berkman coming up. So a very productive out for David Murphy.
Definitely. That's giving yourself up. He went up there trying to pull the ball against the left-hand pitcher. He did it. The infield has to come in. He was trying to pick up a valuable run right here. A good guy at the plate to do it.
Now Lance Berkman tonight 1 for 2. As you can see, he has an RBI. That came on the 2nd inning single. So Smiley will work from the stretch with Andrus at 3rd. A rip and a miss by Berkman. 0-1. Lance was the 2nd hitter that Smiley faced tonight. He popped out on the first pitch. Phil Koch, the left-hander, up and throwing in the Tiger bullpen. 0-1 to Berkman. A .296 hitter. He calls for time and steps out. Yeah, getting that 5-run lead extremely important when you get to this stage of the ball game. It's, you know, if you, as long as you have a 5-run lead, you can never get the tying run to home plate. That's inside. 1 ball, 1 strike to Berkman. Lance, along with his RBI single, has walked. I mentioned that pop out that he had last time up. That is hit high and deep to left field. Going back is Dirk. He's at the wall. It is off the wall. In to score is Andrus. Going into second is Berkman. He is standing up with an RBI double. The Rangers lead 7-2.
Well, Lance on that ball, he popped up the last time against Smiley. Just missed it. Got underneath it just a little bit. Not sure he got all of that one, but he got a lot of it. And he brings in that important run.
About 3/4 of the way up that wall. That's Berkman getting it over the glove with leaping Andy Dirks. The Rangers now with 7 runs on 11 hits. A very lucky night for everybody that swung a bat from the Rangers. And Beltre pops one foul back into the seats. It is 0-1. Berkman with his 10th double. The RBI, his second of the night, 23rd of the year. Adrian Beltre, a couple of singles. That average at 280 as he faces Smiley here in the 6th inning. Way inside at the feet of Adrian Beltre. And I'll tell you what, Alex Avila is going to have to ask for combat pay.
He's blocked a lot of balls. Taking a couple of foul tips.
He was limping after he came up from blocking that one. And you can see the grimace on his face. That well, it's been a long night for him. Let's put it that way. 1-1, the count to Beltre. He's still grimacing back there. Berkman the lead from second is Avila putting the signs down. The 1-1. 2 balls and a strike to Adrian. Rangers scored in each of the first 3 innings. 1 in the first, 3 in the second, 2 in the third. Tigers put 2 on the third, 2 on the board in the top of the third. And the Rangers come back and scored 1 here in the 6th. They're looking for more. Ooh, Beltre had a big rip at that high fastball and fouled it straight back. It is 2-2. Adrian, 26 RBI this season. That is good for second on the club to Nelson Cruz, who has 33. Beltre drives one hard but foul down the left field line. Just hooked it, maybe 10 feet foul when it went by the pole. Lucky fan down there to corral that foul ball.
Might have hit the mound. Oh no, she might have spilled her drink
maybe. Count is still 2-2. 1 out. Berkman the runner at second. A run across for the Rangers. Smiley nods in agreement and comes set. And the pitch. Inside, it gets by Avila this time. So down to third goes Berkman. The wild pitch. That's one of the few that Avila has not been able to block tonight.
Chance to pick up another run right here.
Jim Whalen seeing things on the verge of getting out of hand in this inning.
He really got his glove turned around. Ball might have a little more movement than he expected it to have.
No, the count has gone to 3-2, and the Tigers, as you can see, pulling their infield all the way in. Feel like they need to cut this run off. They're trailing by 5 and can't afford to let it get any further. And Avila's going to go out and talk to Drew Smiley. Berkman played at Elvis Andrews with a 1-out double off the wall in left field. He advanced to third on that wild pitch, talking with Gary Pettis. Three balls, 2 strikes. The count to Adrian Beltre. Hard hit, but right at the shortstop Peralta. Nice reactions to the backhand. He holds Berkman at third and fires to first for the out. 2 gone, and Nelson Cruz coming to the plate.
Not much time to react. Time to take one step and backhand it. One thing about Peralta, he may not have the best range in the league, but he's got good hands, and he generally makes all the plays that he gets to.
So the infield now with 2 outs, back at normal depth. Nelson Cruz at the plate, walked his last time up. 0 for 2 other than that. First pitch to him from Smiley. He is just outside for ball 1. Cruz with the average of 260. That's as low as it has been this season. Had a good pitch to work with there. Fouled back the 92-mile-an-hour fastball. That evens the count, and a ball and a strike. Cruz waiting. Into the windup goes Smiley. And a fly ball hit pretty well to center field. Going back is Garcia. He waits right at the edge of the warning track for that ball to come down and puts it away. Rangers score a run on 2 hits and strand 1. We're going to the 7th. 7-2 Texas on Fox Sports Southwest. To work at Rangers ballpark, and 7-2 the score. And Elvis Andrus 4 hits tonight. That ties his career high. Scored 3 times. He has 2 stolen bases. Justin Grimm, meanwhile, has made that stand up. 6 innings of work, 7 hits, and just 2 runs. Both those runs coming in the 3rd inning. Elvis, a big night, and Grimm trying to make that stand up. 7-2 as we go to work in the top of the 7th inning. Omar Infante leading things off for the Tigers. It'll be Infante, Garcia, and Dirks. The strike is Infante taking all the way. It's 1-1.
The last 3 innings, Tigers have had a couple of hits. A double by Martinez, a single by Hunter. Justin's settling in, throwing nicely.
Hit high in the air to left field. Murphy retreating a bit, but kind of leisurely going back to his left. That is out number 1.
And every out he gets is one less out that the guys out in the bullpen have to get. Saw Yu Darvish go that at least extra 1 inning in his start 2 nights ago. Save an inning for the bullpen. And Justin trying to do the same thing tonight. He was around somewhere around almost 60 pitches after 3 innings.
Right.
Had a long 3rd inning. But he settled down nicely.
Now Avisail Garcia takes inside. That breaking ball didn't break. It is 1 ball and no strikes. Garcia opened up that 3rd inning with a single to right field, came around to score. There's the Ranger bullpen with Kirkman and Shepard loose and ready to be used if necessary. Garcia, along with that single, has struck out against Grimm. Looked like another breaking ball that just slipped out of his hand. And Chirinos is going to go out and have a chat with his 24-year-old right-hander, Justin Grimm. You see Grimm up over 100 pitches, 103, and 60 strikes in those 103 pitches. Trying to come back here against the number 9 man in the Tigers order. Rip and a miss. It is 2-1.
Pretty effective fastball. Fastball count all the way, and he threw it right by him.
Hard hit, but right at the second baseman Garcia. He goes down to a knee, scoops it up, and fires the first 2 outs. So let's go down to Emily Jones once again, Em.
Well, guys, if you've noticed in between innings, Robinson Chirinos, the catcher, will pull out a string with 3 different size balls on it, and he'll put it in front of his eyes like that and focus in an effort to improve and I guess hone in on his vision. It's a vision exercise, basically what he's doing. I've never seen anything like it. Mike Maddox has been working with him on it, and apparently it's something that was used in Tampa Bay that more and more guys are using around the league. Thought it was interesting, and things working well for the Rangers battery right now, I guess.
Yeah, very well. You can say that. That's going to do it for Justin Grimm, but that does not minimize what he has done here tonight as Ron Washington wants to get Tanner Shepard to come on in the ballgame. Justin Grimm, 6 2/3 innings of outstanding pitching. Just the one blemish on his mark, on his ledger tonight. In that 3rd inning, the Tigers came up with 2. But, well, when you're talking about dealing to the best offensive team in the American League, Justin Grimm acquitted himself very nicely. Well, instead it's a left-hander. It's Michael Kirkman coming on. 7-2 Rangers. Well, folks, here's your chance to meet that man in your picture right there, Rangers pitcher Tanner Shepard. That comes up on May 21st at the Irving Airport Freeway location at Whataburger. Sign up to be the Whataburger What fan. Don't miss this chance to win great prizes and to meet one of your Texas Rangers at Whataburger. Michael Kirkman deals to Andy Dirks, and the pitch off the outside corner. It's 1 ball and no strikes. An idea of what Michael Kirkman has been doing the last few times out, been much better for the tall left-hander.
The key is when you look at the walks, he's walked 11 in 17 innings, and then you look at the strikeout total, 21 strikeouts in 17 innings. Yeah, and I think if you had to say, Buzz, that Justin Grimm would pitch into the 7th inning, give up 2, Nick Tepesh would go 5 and give up 2 against this team, you'd say, we'll take it.
Yep. There's a strike. It's 2-1. Yeah, no doubt about it, Tom. And I thought Justin Grimm tonight had a couple of instances where it could have gotten away from him. He didn't let that happen.
No, he came back and threw strikes and made quality pitches. That's the best start for him when you consider who he's pitching against.
The left field, Murphy on the run, fighting the lights. Has to go down on his backside and makes the catch. And that's going to do it for the Tigers. Yeah, you only need 3 outs. The guys are hanging around after the pitching change. Didn't realize that was the 3rd out. Oh, 3 up, 3 down. Nice play by David Murphy. Let's join Chuck Morgan as he introduces God Bless America to the fans here at Rangers Ballpark. brought to you by the all-new Mazda 6. When you change everything, you change everything. Capacity crowd on hand here tonight, the 5th sellout of the year. They have seen Ron Washington's ball club take it to the Tigers. 7-2, the Rangers lead as we head to the last half of the 7th inning. It'll be Mitch Morland, Robinson Chirinos, and Leonis Martin to face the new pitcher, and that's the veteran left-hander Phil Coke.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a struggle for Phil Coke so far this season. He's 0-3. His ERA is 7.5. He's only pitched 10 2/3 innings. But he's got pretty good stuff. Got a 92, 93 mile an hour sinking fastball, kind of a slurvish type breaking ball.
And Coke's first pitch is a fastball to Mitch Morland for strike one. Now the AT&T Uverse reverse replay. Mitch Morland last time up, or I should say in the 3rd inning. Oh, way out to left center field. That was off Anibal Sanchez. For Mitch Morland, his 10th home run of the year. And he is 1 for 2 tonight, facing the left-hander Coke. Gets a breaking ball, and it is now 0-2. Coke, a 30-year-old southpaw, came over to the Tigers back in the offseason before the 2010 year from the New York Yankees. That was a trade that sent Curtis Granderson to the Yankees. 0-2 pitch from Coke. Got him swinging. Tough breaking ball from Phil Coke, and Mitch Morland gone on strikes, 1 away. Robinson Chirinos will come up.
Good 0-2 pitch. Tough left-handed, tough curveball, lefty to a lefty.
Oh, now it's Robinson Chirinos, the Rangers catcher tonight. Chirinos 1 for 3, had a single and scored in the 3rd inning. Phil Coke with the first pitch. Rip and a miss. With the left-hander on the hill, Ron Washington is getting ready to make a move in the on-deck circle. We look down there and notice Craig Gentry has grabbed a bat. He is getting set to hit for Leonis Martin. Weakly hit ground ball out to second. Infante on to first. That is out number 2. And before Craig Gentry comes up, let's head back to have a Mazda game break. Here's Dana Larson. All right, Dana, thank you. Well, here's Craig Gentry now as the pinch hitter. Leonis Martin retired, going 1 for 2 with a single and a sacrifice bunt. Also scored a run. Gentry, a .279 hitter. Excuse me, that's Leonis Martin's numbers. Gentry hitting .233 for the season. Greg, a home run and 7 RBI. Gentry now is 1 out of 6 as a pinch hitter. He's used as a pinch hitter in last night's ball game. Coke with a 1-0 and misses low and away. Gentry has faced Coke 3 times. Has had no success against him. 0 for 3. Did have a walk in one of those appearances. Ahead of the count here, 2-0. Up the middle by Infante into center field, and there is a pinch hit base hit for Craig Gentry. With good speed, Gentry aboard at first with 2 outs. Well, folks, the series against these Tigers ends tomorrow, and the first 10,000 fans ages 13 and under will get a Joe Nathan T-shirt commemorating his 300 saves. That's courtesy of Snapple and Berkshire's. Tickets for tomorrow's game are still available at TexasRangers.com. These tickets, we were fortunate enough to have some up here in the booth with us. They are good-looking T-shirts. 300 saves and the Texas T on the front, and Nathan number 36 on the back. Uri Garcia, the switch-hitting second baseman up there now. He is 0 for 3 tonight, a couple of groundouts and a strikeout. Rangers with a dozen hits tonight. Koch, a low set, and he comes to the plate. Sliced down the right side, but that will get back about 4 rows out of play. And we'll come back and try it with a 1-1 count. $46,782 on hand here tonight. 5th sellout this season. And the fans being treated to a very well played ball game by your Rangers. That's inside. Garcia letting it pass by. It's 2 balls and a strike. Leary getting starts both last night and tonight. Ron Washington seemed to feel before the ball game today that Ian Kinsler would be available to play tomorrow, but he wasn't banking on that. He said, hey, as long as we've got Garcia, who is a plug-in player any place we need him, we're okay. That is a called strike. Boy, that fastball from Koch really tailing back to the inside corner. It's 2-2.
Yeah, borderline pitch. You don't see it called all the time, that's for sure. If you can get that pitch called and throw it there every time, you got a chance to win a lot of games.
Yeah. There goes Gentry. The pitch swung on and missed, and down on strikes is Uri Garcia. Side retired, no runs, a hit, 1 left. We're going to the 8th. Rangers 7, Tigers 2. Fox Sports Southwest.
As we head to the 8th inning, time for the Progressive fan of the game, and we got to give it to little 11.5-month Braylon. Look at this, out past her bedtime. She's got her baby bucket list. The teeth, yes, check. First Rangers game, check. Souvenir ball, check that. Here you go, Braylon. Take that little one. And here's even something even better, the Progressive fan of the game. What do you have to say? Huh? Speechless. Way to go, Braylon. Congratulations. Progressive fan of the game. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Nice going, Doc. You really made her smile. Well, she was happy with that. She was happy with that baseball. Tanner Shepard's on now to pitch the 8th inning, and he's working to Torrey Hunter and deals strike 1.
She actually looks happy to have that ball, doesn't
she does.
she?
Jeffers back to the plate. And a little looping drive foul down the first base side. But Tanner very quickly out in front of the count. 0-2 to Torrey Hunter.
Great numbers for Tanner. I think that 0.44 adds up to maybe 1 earned run in 20 innings. 20 2/3. 13 strikeouts, but a lot of balls hit off the handle. Like that.
Like that, yeah. Torrey is very lucky he didn't put that in play because that might not have made it back to the mound.
But Tanner, with that extra movement he's got this year, has been able to run the fastball in on the fists of right-hand hitters all season long.
We saw the new Rangers center fielder Craig Gentry stayed in the ballgame after his pinch hit single. Just off the outside corner at 97.
I think sometimes, Buzz, you can appear to be more dominating when you're smashing bats than when you're getting strikeouts.
Oh, no doubt.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and he's
no doubt.
definitely been dominant.
And there's another one for his collection. He's going to walk to first himself. That ball wouldn't have made it anywhere near first base had Tanner not picked it up.
Wouldn't have
Just
got
stopped
to the dirt.
dead. No, Hunter out. That's one away, and Miguel Cabrera coming up. Let's take a look at tonight's AT&T Twitter poll. Remember, we asked you what your favorite weekly promotion was at Rangers Ballpark, and 52% of you said dollar hot dog night. Now, I can't disagree with that at all. Quarter of you think it's fireworks night. That's a good choice too. And there's nothing wrong with the autographs or ice cream sundae. But a dollar hot dog night, yeah, that's got to be it. I'd vote for that myself. And did, as a matter of fact. Cabrera, he gets fisted. Rolls one down to Adrian Beltre. That's out number 2.
Cabrera's been jammed a couple, 2 or 3 times tonight.
Most good hitters, I think, Tom, you can speak to this, you have to pitch him inside to be effective against him. If you just try and stay away, I think most good hitters make the adjustment and start really killing you going the other way.
Yeah, I think most hitters love to get their hands extended. I think that's for sure. Ted Williams used to always say you can't be afraid to get jammed. In other words, don't pull off the ball. You don't try to cheat. Sometimes good hitters are going to get jammed. And that's the price you pay, I guess, for your style and the fact that you are a good hitter. Occasionally you can get jammed.
Rich Fielder 1 for 3 tonight, an RBI single. And he hits it into the midst of the shift again. Garcia in shallow right field. Pretty impressive 1-2-3 8th inning for Tanner Jeffers. Rangers coming to bat in the bottom of the 8th inning, leading 7-2. And boy, he has had quite a night. Our Coors Light Cold Hard Fact tonight, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Tonight's Elvis's first career 4-hit game with 2 stolen bases. And I want to remind you before he comes to the plate right now, after that cold hard fact, that he is a home run shy of the cycle. He has had 2 singles, a double, and a triple. Facing Phil Koch, it'll be Andrews, Murphy, and Berkman here in the Ranger 8. 7-2 Texas. They have out-hit the Tigers 12-7 tonight as Elvis takes ball 1. Last Ranger to hit for the cycle, Adrian Beltre in this ballpark. Elvis approaching that 280 marker. Koch ready. The 1-0 pitch. Loop to right field. On comes Hunter. He's going to have to play it on a hop. And Andrews is going to settle for a single to make it a 5-hit game.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about taking a cheap hit, Elvis. You got your hits coming. They're thinking he should be going for a home run.
Yeah.
He hadn't hit a home run all year. He's not going to. Well, he's going to hit a sinker ball pitcher for a home run now. Go for the hit. Hit your hits.
About 3/4 of the way to the bag, he was already trying to explain to the guys, he threw me a sinker. I couldn't hit it out that way. I was trying to. 5 hits tonight, the first time in Elvis's career. He's top that, and I would venture to say not nearly the last time that's going to happen. No, 1 on, nobody out. Here's David Murphy. Ball 1 is outside. Murph 0 for 4 tonight, although he has scored a run and had an RBI. He reached on an error in the 2nd inning. A little topper down the first baseline that was thrown away by Anibal Sanchez. Andrews not being held closely. He doesn't show any inclination to running in this situation. And the pitch is a strike to even the count to Murphy. Murph wagging that bat back and forth as Koch gets set. It's low and outside, 2-1. Remember Murphy last year just tore the cover off the ball against left-handers. He was among the league leaders against left-handed pitching last year. Hasn't had quite the same success this year, and as a result hasn't had as many at-bats against left-handers. Jeff Baker's been taking some of those away from him. A rip and a miss to even the count at 2-2. But he has always fared well against the Tigers. A 320 lifetime hitter against Detroit pitching, and that covers 36 ball games. Now Koch with a 2-2 pitch. Tried the breaking ball and couldn't coax a swing out of Murphy. The count has gone full. Murph trying to get aboard to join Elvis Andrews on base. Lance Berkman, the designated hitter, will be next. Koch okays the sign. The left-hander's ready to go. Payoff pitch outside, ball 4. And the Rangers have 2 aboard with nobody out. And Lance Berkman coming up. Let's head over and visit with Dana Larson and get a preview of Rangers Live. Dana?
Buzz, thank you very much. Coming up on the post-game show, Rangers Live presented by Esurance. Much more on this spectacular night by Elvis, as well as what Mitch Morland continues to do in this ballpark, and a great look back at what the Rangers have been able to do against the top 2 Tigers pitchers in this series. We'll hear from Ron Washington. Emily Jones will take us into the clubhouse with player reaction. So join Mac and myself coming up on Rangers Live right after this.
All right, Dana, thanks very much. 2 on, nobody out. Lance Berkman is 2 for 3 tonight with a couple of runs driven in. Rip and a miss at that off-speed pitch. Berkman walked in the first, had an RBI single in the second. Popped out in the 4th and had an RBI double in the 6th inning. Lance has had an RBI from each side of the plate tonight. Switch hitting Ranger designated hitter. Takes that pitch low and outside. It is 1-1. Lance, after the 2 for 3 thus far, has gotten the average back up over 300. It's a 302 as he faces Koch in the 8th inning. Elvis, the lead at the bottom of your screen from second. That pitch a bit low. It is 2-1. Ranger hitters now, David Murphy and Lance Berkman, Elvis at second, but they've been making adjustments after having seen Phil Koch throw about 24 pitches thus far, laying off that sinker, making him get the ball up in the strike zone. That's ball 3. Now Berkman ahead of the count. If he gets aboard, Adrian Beltre is waiting in the on-deck circle to do some damage. Gene Lamont, Jim Leland's lieutenant over there, making the call down to the bullpen. Sure they don't want Phil Koch to have to labor a lot here tonight. 3-1 pitch on the way. And the count is full to Berkman. Koch studying the signs, dangling that left arm down by his side. The left-hander comes set just below the belt. Payoff pitch. Double play ground ball out to Peralta. The second for 1 to return is in time. On to third goes Anders, but there are now 2 outs. David Murphy erased on the double play grounder off the bat of Lance Berkman. A 6-4-3 second double play the Rangers have grounded into tonight. And Adrian Beltre a chance with 2 outs, and Elvis at third base. Beltre singled in each of his first 2 at-bats, has struck out and grounded out since. Off speed, finds the inside corner for strike 1. Koch okays the sign. A check over his shoulder of third base, and the changeup floats very high and wide. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now the finale of this 4-game series tomorrow night. 7 o'clock game. It'll be on ESPN as their game of the Sunday night variety. We'll be back with you on Monday. Beltre, a drive hit in the air to right field, but not carrying, punch past Torrey Hunter. He puts it away. That'll do it for the Rangers. No runs a hit. They strand 1. We're going to the 9th inning. The Rangers 7, the Tigers 2 on Fox Sports Southwest. Boost Challenge at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T U-Burst TV. Check availability at 1-800-PICK-ATT. Rethink possible. And by Progressive. Visit Progressive.com today. Well, the ninth inning has arrived in front of the sellout crowd on a Saturday night at Rangers Ballpark. Fans enjoying the evening. They are enjoying what has been a lot of Rangers offense tonight. 7-2, the Rangers lead. And as we head to the top of the ninth inning, the Ranger closer, Joe Nathan, on to get some work in here. Trying to close this ball game out with as little effort as possible.
Well, Tanner Shepard's got out of that inning with as little effort as possible. Less than 10 pitches. 3 up, 3 down. Right through the middle of their lineup.
Victor Martinez starting things off. And Nathan's first pitch nails down the outside corner knee high. It is 0-1. Martinez 1 for 2. A double, a walk. And he's also grounded out tonight. Breaking ball, and Martinez able to check his swing. It's 1-1.
Justin Grimm has a chance to even his record at 3-3 with one of his better outings. Came back from 2 outings where he gave up 5 runs in 5 innings.
And Martinez pops the next pitch up. Shallow left field. Elvis going out, making the call and the catch. That is out number 1. And Martinez pops out. And Alex Avila now will come to the plate. Well, we told you as part of our information package last night about Joe Nathan. Had a little question about saves, consecutive saves against one opponent. Nathan with 35 saves in a row without a blown save against the Tigers. This obviously not a safe situation. But you would have to say there's been a pretty good bit of mastery. Avila first ball swinging, shies to David Murphy. And the Tigers now down to their final out. Johnny Peralta coming up.
It looked like in the 3rd inning it might be one of those games that goes back and forth all day long. Tigers put up 2 runs on 3 hits. And since that time, Ranger pitchers Justin Grimm, Michael Kirkland, Tanner Shepard, Joe Nathan shut him out. No walks and 2 hits since the 3rd inning.
Nathan's first pitch to Peralta. He's a strike to the outside corner. Peralta against Nathan. 4 for 17. That's a .235 average. Checked his swing on the breaking ball, and there's no appeal. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Peralta tonight 1 for 3. 2nd inning single. Other than that, his flied out and grounded out. And a little nubber that just stays in foul territory before Robinson Chirinos can get to it. But that moves the count to 1-2. In this crowd of better than 46,000, the 5th sellout of the year. Folks that are still here, and that's most of them, are on their feet. They are behind Joe Nathan, trying to close out what will be the Rangers' 28th win of the year against 15 losses. The 1-2 pitch. 2-2. Joe Nathan trying to bring home the 13th win of the year here in this ballpark. Rangers have played now 18 games here at home. They would be 13-5 with the victory as soon as Nathan finishes off Peralta. To center field, Gentry retreating, still going back, has room, and on the warning track, Gentry makes the catch. And the Rangers win the ball game. The final tonight, Texas 7, Detroit 2. As Nathan, Kirkman, and Shepard retire the last 7 they face. And you combine that with what Justin Grimm was able to do. And it's the last 11 Tigers in a row were set down by the quartet of Ranger pitchers. A very good night tonight. Ranger offense producing 13 hits and 7 runs against Anibal Sanchez, who had been virtually untouchable. A 2.05 ERA coming in. He had 7 quality starts, and he did not last past the 3rd inning tonight. Scored 2 2/3 innings. Rangers touched him for 6 runs on 9 hits. Drew Smiley gave up a run on a couple of hits, and Phil Koch finished it off with 2 scoreless innings. The Rangers, though, with the win, are now 28-15. They lead at the moment by 7 full games over the Oakland A's, and depending the outcome of the game with Oakland and Kansas City tonight, it could be 7.5 over Oakland, or it could be back to 6.5. And let's head down to the field where Emily Jones has the star of tonight's game, Elvis Andrews.
Thank you very much, Elvis. I don't know that I've ever seen someone so disappointed with 5 for 5. When you got that last single, you looked so dejected.
Well, I think that we talked before the game about that in the tunnel, and I'm not disappointed. I'm super happy. But yeah, I was trying to go for the homer, and it was a low pitch. But I'm super happy. We got the win today, and hopefully we're ready for tomorrow.
Just talk about a night like tonight when you are seeing things so well at the plate. What's that like to be in a groove like that?
It feels a lot. It feels good. I've been looking for for that feeling it's a little while, and finally everything started falling through. So hopefully stay that way. Same mentality for tomorrow. Huge game tomorrow, trying to take over and win the series.
Talk about the pitching tonight. Justin Grimm with a nice performance, and then of course the back end of the bullpen continues to be lights out.
Oh, it was huge. I think he was one of the key for us. He fight. Early, he was shaking and shaking, but he showed how much heart he had right now, and he went on there and trying to battle. So I'm really glad he did a really good job.
Elvis, congratulations on the win and the 5 for 5, guys. Elvis Andrews, we'll send it back up to you.
All right, Emily, thank you. Well, the Rangers a big win tonight. They have won 2 of the first 3. They will try and make it 3 out of 4 tomorrow night. Rangers tonight 7 runs on 13 hits. Tigers 2 runs on 7 hits. Grimm the winner. He's 3-3. Sanchez, the loser, he is 4-4, 2 hours and 59 minutes in front of 46,782. On Monday will be the next time we are with you. It'll be the Rangers and the A's. AT&T wanted to remind you of that on Fox Sports Southwest, 7 o'clock Monday night, right here. And we're going to take a short time out right after the break. Dana and Mac will be with you to wrap things up from Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. Rangers 7,